Welcome back for another top-notch video. This week, guys, we'll be looking at the week of 24 August through 28 August. As always, our TSP channel is about stocks, Roth IRA, brokerage accounts, retirement accounts. We also talk about the Thrift Savings Plan. If you guys are interested in that, the funds we kind of look over are the C, S, I, and F funds for Thrift Savings Plan. And for those in brokerage, Roth IRA accounts, we look at the ETFs, which you can get involved in, which is IVV, VXF, EFA, and AGG. What do these equal? Well, this one up here equals the S&P 500. This one here is small caps. This one here is international markets. And this one here is bonds. Our channel typically goes over a broad overview of what happened for the week, and then we go into some technical analysis. If you are interested in that, please like, subscribe, or share. We really appreciate you guys being here. Let's get right into it. For this week, guys, what did we see? Big week. Big week on markets. My goodness, I was surprised. We had the C and S fund up quite significantly. That C fund was up 3.2%. S fund was up 2.65%. I fund 1.6%, and the F fund was down. For the year, the C fund now is leading. It is up quite significantly. It is over 9% for the year, which is pretty incredible. On the top-notch channel, where do we stand? We finally beat that F fund. So where do we sit? We sit at 8.46%, meaning we are beating the F fund, the S fund, and the I fund, and most of the life cycle funds. So we are doing very well on this channel. Just trailing the C fund by a little bit there. Hope to catch up on it towards maybe September, October time frame. Wait for a small pullback or something like that moving forward. If you want to see charts for the week and what they look like, here's what it was. They started at 0% here this week, and here's when they ran off to. As you can see, that C and S fund really took off. The I fund was a little lower, and that F fund ended up in the negative just a little bit. That being said, let's kind of do our broad overview of markets. Tom from TSP Talk does some charts. If you like that stuff, please go to TSP Talk. He can kind of go and walk you through some of those things. So for our S&P 500 or the IVV, that fund is really taken off, guys. As you can see, our moving averages are all in the right place. Fastest moving average on top, lowest on the bottom. That's a bullish look. Trend lines, we moved outside this trend line. This trend line we've been following since July that he drew here. We just moved out there. We got a spinning top here, which means indecision. We're a little uncertain about that moving forward. We'll have to see what it looks like in the technical analysis. But overall, not too bad, guys. And then his PMO line, the black above red, that's a bullish sign. So that's interesting for the S&P 500. What does it look like for the S fund or VXF? VXF is at an interesting point. We are we are well within our trend lines here, which is good. Trend lines look good here. Moving averages look good. Trend lines look good. We are at a double top here for VXF, so that's a very interesting point. When the S&P was at this point, a lot of people thought this was going to pull back for a double top. It did not. It blew right through it. So we could see that in the upcoming week here, moving into September. We'll have to wait and see and look at charts and technical analysis to see where we think we see this going in the future. EFA, international markets, kind of mixed. Not really anything I like. It's kind of flattening out. No real clear trend. Moving averages in the right direction, but we can't really draw a trend here. Not super excited about that. Never have been, really. Bonds, okay. AGG. How is AGG doing? We saw a bearish flag here. Usually when stocks come down, they come up a little bit. That's usually a bearish flag, and sure enough, this week, that broke down. AGG was down quite significantly, broke out of that bearish flag into a down manner. Not a good place to have cash at this time. That being said, let's move into our technical analysis for our funds. Moving into IVV or the C fund for markets, where do we sit at? We are now above that February high. So markets a lot of people thought it was going to double top here. A lot of people, it was kind of flattening out. People weren't sure. People thought it was going to come back to the moving average. It blew out of the water this week. Look at that. Incredible growth this week. Really, really good. Not a single down day this past week. So really blew out of the water. At some point it will pull back, but right now it looks just fantastic. Doing very, very well. Let's look at it on technical analysis. IVV, we like to look at two things, long-term and short-term charts. So we look at the weekly, which is our long-term charts. The two technical indicators we like to look at are the derivative oscillator and the PPO line. So this is your price up here. Okay, And then down here we have the PPO line, which is the blue line, and the moving average, which is the red line. Typically when the blue line is above the red line, price increases. When it goes below, price decreases. The other thing we like to look at is the derivative oscillator. With the derivative oscillator, we like to look at upward moving slopes of these green bars here, and when they tend to move down or into the red, price tends to move down into the red. When they come back out of the red into the green, price tends to move up. So those are our two indicators we like to look at for judging where price is going to go next. So what do we see? Where do markets go? What's going on with markets? IVV, as you can see, we had a fake out here. It was headed down. Markets continued to go up, so that's kind of a rare signal. Derivative oscillator was no help. PPO line was way above our moving average, so we stayed invested. Sure enough, we saw that start to increase again, and this week we were at 4.5, and we moved to 5.0, so that's really good for the weekly charts. Charts are doing very well for IVV. Very good look here for IVV. Good place to have cash at the time, and for August it was just a blowout month. It was pretty incredible. Short-term charts for IVV. Where do we sit? Where do we stand? As you can see, we are seeing a decrease in the derivative oscillator. That could be our first sign of trouble right here. Our PPO line is not below our moving average yet, but just keep that in mind. Could see some trouble here. Could see a fake out. We'll have to wait and see on that moving forward. That is IVV. Let's move into VXF, long-term charts. What do they look like? VXF. For VXF, we also saw that weekly fake out with the derivative oscillator. Price continued to move higher. PPO line was never in trouble. Stayed invested. And what do we see this week? 4.1 to 4.4. So really good here. Really good increase from last week to this week. Things look well on price up here. Price is moving upwards. Good direction. PPO is above that moving average line. Things are going well for VXF. No issues, concerns, long-term charts. What about short-term charts? Short-term charts also look well. We just had a crossover this last week. The PPO line crossed the moving average, that red line, bullish sign there, and our derivative oscillator is moving from the red to the green. Bullish here, no decline here, which is very good. Price is moving up here, which is good. It's a little outside those Bollinger Bands, which is that bluish area. Typically when they move out the bluish area, it has no room to breathe. So charts like to stay within the bluish area. We'll have to wait and see next week if we can punch higher. Keep in mind we're at a very critical point here where we're at a double top. If this continues, we're going to keep our money right where it's at. VXS looks like a good place to be moving forward. Moving into our next chart, EFA. Where do we sit for EFA? EFA has been consolidating for quite some time. As you can see, the moving averages are now above that 200-day moving average, this one right here. Our short-term moving averages are above that. That's bullish. That's a good sign. But it looks like it's doing a lot of consolidation right along this line here. People are unsure of where to go with this chart. So that's not necessarily a good thing. Not really performing as well as our other markets, other charts. As you can see, we're still negative for the year for EFA. It's still down 4% for the year. On a technical analysis for EFA, where do we sit? Long-term charts. Looking at it now, weekly charts. As you can see, our derivative oscillator is trying to make a comeback here. We went from 2.8 to 2.9. That's a positive direction. PPO line is above that moving average. Good thing. Price is moving up. Not anywhere close to the highs for February of 2020, but it is moving in the right direction on a long-term basis. Let's look at it on a short-term basis. Short-term basis, where do we sit? That PPO line is below the moving average. That's not a place you want to be. Derivative oscillator is moving downwards. Two negative signs here. Price is mixed. Not a place to have money at this time. Moving on to AGG or bonds. This is the F fund. What is the F fund doing? Wow, we're really seeing some interesting things with this F fund. Saw a double top here. Double top. Like I mentioned with the S fund. Okay? Double top here, and what happened? It broke down from that double top. Hit these moving averages. A lot of people thought it was going to bounce back. It did not. It broke down even more. Saw a bearish flag like I showed you on those broad markets, and it broke down from that bearish flag. The next line really that we have to consider of consolidation is this 200-day moving average. That is a long way down, guys. That is a lot of risk, a lot of market risk. I would not have your money in AGG at this time or the F fund. Take it out of there. Do not have it there for right now. That's my personal opinion, but I would just mention what we see here on the charts does not look good. On a technical analysis, what are we seeing? Long-term charts for AGG. Ooh, negative things here. Look at this PPO line. Cross that red line, or cross the moving average red line there into the negative. Our derivative oscillator is negative. 2 negative signs there. Price is decreasing. Not a real place to be. These Bollinger Bands are getting real close. Long-term charts do not look good for this right now for AGG or the F fund. I would stick your money elsewhere at this time. Short-term charts, what do they look like? As you can see here, short-term charts, we had that bearish flag, which is right here, and then we had a breakdown of that. We moved outside the Bollinger Bands, moved a little bit back in, which is good. Derivative oscillator is negative here, and then started to move back positive. That's a positive sign here, but our PPO line is still below our moving average, so that is negative. So we got one good positive sign, one negative sign. It's mixed. Not a good place to be at this time for AGG. That is all our charts for this week, guys. Really appreciate you tuning in. Please like, subscribe, or share the video. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. That's another top-notch video.